Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, and that means it is time for another wrestling review. This week, I'm on my own. Conspicuous by his absence is Campo. Campo wasn't feeling too well, so he will not be joining us on this review. So unfortunately, you're stuck with me for the entirety of this review on my own. This review is basically going to be it won't be very long. It's more of a review of the whole tournament, not the tournament, but the whole series in general. This past month, we had a series of events called The New Beginning for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It took place in 4 nights across 3 different cities. It's basically building up their next pay-per-view, which is the Battle in the Valley. It is also building up to the Noah event, which is happening. I forgot the name of it, but it's happening soon. Pro Wrestling's Last Love, Muda's final match. That's the event. So that is happening in February as well, the end of February. So this is setting up a whole bunch of stuff. It's a very randomized show. Nothing really big takes place other than the main events of the few nights. So I'm just going to go over the card, go over the results, and talk about some of the matches that were a little bit more important. So on the first night, this took place on January the 22nd, so over a month ago, almost a month ago now. It was The New Beginning in Nagoya. Basically, it was 7 matches on this card. Nothing really too big. Your opening match was Toge Makabe and Toru Yano defeating the team of Oscar Lube and Yuto Nakashima, both young lions being, pinned by the veterans, so to speak. And then you have El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki, Ren Narita, Tomoyaki Hanma against the House of Torture, which is Dick Togo, Evil. I call him Dick Togo. It's Dick Togo, but Dick Togo, Evil, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. This has been the story being told throughout these 4 nights, which eventually leads to something that's going to happen on the final night. We knew this was going somewhere. We knew Minoru Suzuki was taking Ren Narita under his wing. So it's forming something here. So at least them going over and defeating House of Torture eventually will lead to a match on the final night. After that, the third match of the night was TMDK, The Mighty Don't Kneel, with Kosei Fujita, Mikey Nicholls, Shane Haste, and Zack Sabre Jr. in an 8-man tag against Oiwa and Chaos, which is Bishamon, Hiroki Goto Yoshihashi, and Tomohiro Ishii. Bishamon took their first loss since winning the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team Championship belts against TMDK. This is clearly setting up a path for them. It also set up at the end of the match, Ishii challenged Zack Sabre Jr. for the New Japan TV Championship, and it's also setting Mikey Nicholls and Shane Haste for the tag team match, which will happen eventually later in I believe it's on the 4th night. After that, you had Bullet Club of El Phantasmo, Taiji Ishimori, and Kenta against Hiroshi Tanahashi, Jado, and Master Wato. This has also been another feud that's being set up between Wato and Taiji Ishimori, where the payoff is also on the final night of this tournament, I guess you can call it. And then you had our 5th Bullet Club go over, El Phantasmo and Taiji go over. Then you had United Empire of Aaron Harane, Francesco Akira, TJP, and Will Ospreay defeated the new group of just 4 guys, which is Doki, Taichi, Takamichinoku, and Kanemaru. Eventually, this was also setting up for a match between Taichi and Kanemaru against... it was Doki and Kanemaru against Catch 2-2, and it was also setting up a match between Will Ospreay and Will Ospreay and Taichi, which happens later on in this series as well. These were all pretty much like just matches to set up other matches. Then you had Ryusuke Taguchi, Shota Umino, and Chaos of Kazuchika Okada and Yo defeating LIJ, Bushi, Takahashi, Sanada, Naito. Chaos and them go over, once again setting up Shota Umino against Tetsuya Naito. And obviously you want Tetsuya Naito looking strong going into his final match against the Great Muta, I guess. And then it also sets up Yo challenging Takahashi for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship. Seventh match on the card, which was the main event, was Shingo Takagi against the Great Khan for the provisional KOPW 2003 championship, which is now a belt. There is going to be a tier listing of the New Japan belts coming soon. Campo, like I said, was not feeling well this week, so that's going to be postponed for another week. But Shingo Takagi, and I like the fact that this was marketed as a MMA fight, like a mixed martial arts rules match, but it ended up becoming just a wrestling match after all. Basically, it was if whoever won this match, because the night before, Great Khan challenged Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but basically that was also on the line. Not just the KOPW Championship, but the match against Okada was also on the line. I'm starting to become a bigger fan of Great Khan. Little by little, this guy's starting to grow on me. He's starting to improve in the ring. He is becoming one of my favorites. Campo might hate me for saying this, but he is slowly starting to become one of my favorites. But Shingo Takagi, this guy, he is an absolute monster. He is an absolute beast. This match goes 22 and a half minutes, and it was a fantastic match. Basically, this was the match of the night, as it should be. So overall, it was a good night. I would give this show, out of all of them, this is one of the higher rated shows. Well, I mean, they're all about in the same boat, but I'm giving this show a 6.8 out of 10. It served its purpose. Like I said, those first few matches were okay, but that final match was just something special, and I'd go out of the way to go watch Shingo Takagi. This is definitely one of the top matches of this series of shows. So with that, the first night is over, and then we go into our second night, which happened over the course of last weekend, which is February 4th and February 5th, and these took place in Sapporo in Japan as well. So it's basically more of the same, I guess, because they're just finding different groupings of the same guys to go against each other, setting up for something bigger. So on the 4th, your first match was after the loss the other night. It was Great Khan versus Oscar Lube. The match was good. It was, everybody saying, oh, Khan should be basically running through Lube, but it wasn't the case. Lube actually put up a pretty good fight, and Great Khan goes over by submission. Then once again, you have Oiwa, Ren Narita, El Desperado, and Minoru Suzuki against the same four people from the House of Torture: Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil. This was a really half-decent match. It's clearly setting up the match between Minoru, or not the match, but the mentorship of Minoru Suzuki and Ren Narita. And they are clearly going after House of Torture, who are the current IWGP Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Champions. They were also saying that they will House of Torture saying they will never defend the belts, that they are going to retire the belts, that they will never be on the line again. So even if you beat us, you won't get the belt. But they are setting up a match there. And then you had the match of TMDK, once again, the same four of Fujita, Mikey Nichols, Shane Haston, Zack Sabre Jr. against the same four guys of... actually, this time it was Nakashima in this match, but is Yoshihashi, Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii. Once again, same match as Nagoya, pretty much. And Bishamon lose again to TMDK, which is fascinating because they made him look so strong in that win over FTR, and FTR put him over so much that I don't know why this one didn't really... This feud doesn't really do it for me because I'm not a fan of TMDK, and Yoshihashi and Goto Bishamon need to look stronger than this. Next, you had a really great match of Guerrillas of Destiny of Hikuleo, Tamatonga, Master Wato, and Tanahashi going over Bullet Club of Jay White, Ishimori, Phantasmo, and Kenta with Gato in the ring, or on the side of the ring. But the faces go over. Guerrillas of Destiny win. The Guerrillas of Destiny do win. This was is an okay match. It wasn't anything special. Master Wato got the win over Ishimori, so that was something that's setting up, I think, that match over there, which will happen later on in the show, or later on in this series of shows. Next, you had LIJ, Sanada, Bushi, Takagi, and Takahashi going over Okada, Yo, Toru Yano, and Ryosuke Taguchi. Again, just a match. These are just matches setting up for those main event matches. Then, this is the night where you had a few main events now. You had Catch 2-2 of Francesco Akira and TJP with Great-O-Khan at ringside, defeating just 4 guys of Doki Kanemaru with Takamichi Inoku on ringside. This was a really, really good match. TJP is something fantastic. I really don't want Catch 2-2 to lose these belts, but I have a feeling they will at the Battle in the Valley show, because I think they're putting the belts on the line in the show. I forgot who they're putting it on, but I'll go over the card at the end of this video. Really good match, 18 minutes, Catch 2-2 go over. I was surprised that they chose these 2 guys to go against Catch 2-2, but then again, junior heavyweights, right? So you don't want them. And and Catch 2-2 go over. Next, you had a fantastic match. Will Ospreay, this man is something special. The only thing, though, is it wasn't believable for me, because I knew that Ospreay would not lose to Taichi. Like, that's not believable. But even if that's not believable, it was still a fantastic match. Will Ospreay is trying to build that momentum back up after losing the belt to Kenny Omega. He's trying to get back to, I guess, the top of the card. And this match, a 23-minute match, like, is just the perfect showcase for him to get back to the top of the card, and to be by beating a higher mid-carder, it really reestablishes him back at the top of the pecking order. This would have been match of the night had it not been for the next match. This was so far, no. This has been, out of the 4 nights, this was the match of the series. This was Tetsuya Naito finally against Shota Umino. We finally get that head-to-head. I love how the commentators were making the fact that Umino and Naito is mirroring Naito and Muta from 12 years ago, where Naito just couldn't get over Muta, and this is the same thing. Umino just can't seem to beat Naito one-on-one. It makes Naito look strong going into that match against the Great Muta. This was a fantastic match. It was a 32-minute, slogfest, and it was just a great showcase for Shota Umino as well. Shota Umino, this guy is going to be a star. This guy, I think he's either going to have a really good showing in the G1, come close, maybe lose in the G1 final, and then win it next year, or he's going to have a good run against, say, a junior heavyweight or something, because Takahashi is a member of LIJ, and he's right now the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So I think this is going to set up something for Takahashi and Umino down the road, where Umino is going to get the belt for the Junior Heavyweight. That concludes night 1. Night 2, we had United Empire once again. It was Akira, Will Ospreay, TJP, and Great-O-Khan defeated all 4 of just 4 guys. This was the first time I've seen Takamichi Inoku in the ring in forever. It was an okay match. Like I said, Will Ospreay opening the card is always a good thing. But in an 8-man tag, especially after the 3rd night of this, it feels like they're just putting these just to get the guys on the card. And it feels like they're building up the same matches for something that's you've seen already. So I would say most of this match was not really interested for myself. The second match of the night, you had Nakashima, Ren Narita, El Desperado, and Minoru Suzuki once again against the same 4 guys of House of Torture. So we've gotten this 4 against 3 so many times now, it was starting to get a little tedious. It was starting to get a little repetitive, but it was okay. It was still a good match. At the end of the match, this is where they challenged the members of House of Torture for the thing. And they're really expanding on the Suzuki taking Ren Narita under his wing kind of thing. And that, at least, I enjoy. But I thought Suzuki was retiring, so who knows. After that, we had our next match of the night, which was Bullet Club of Ishimori and Kenta against Wado and Tanahashi. Both of them lost. Wado and Tanahashi lost. This is setting up matches for the next night where you got Ishimori against Wado and Tanahashi against Kenta one more time. On the night, the show in Okada, the show in Osaka, I should say, they were building the fact that Tanahashi has never beaten Kenta in Osaka. So that's clearly telegraphing it for you. The fourth match of the night was Guerrillas of Destiny, Hikuleo, Tamatanga, and Jado, against the Bullet Club, Jay White, Gato, and El Phantasmo. Once again, Jado versus Gato. You're getting El Phantasmo against Tonga for the Never Open Championship the next night, and then you have Hikuleo versus Jay White in a loser leaves Japan match in the next night as well. Guerrillas of Destiny once again go over, which made me believe that Jay White was actually going to win that match, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Match 5 of the night was Shota Umino, Ryusuke Taguchi, and the members of Chaos, Toru Yano and Okada, defeating the LIJ, Ibushi, Sanada, Naito, and Takagi. Once again, Okada, Takagi, which is going to happen on the next night, putting them together. Naito and Umino, which we saw the night before, which, again, and then basically a bunch of other random guys in there. Again, another 8-man tag. These first 5 matches on the card were, I would say, unimportant. Then you get into the meat of the show. You had Bishamon going over TMDK. Finally, they get the win back. But to me, it didn't feel like a big win because they've lost 3 shows in a row. The win didn't feel special. Like, they needed to establish dominance and not lose those first 2 matches against them and then win the third. They should have just absolutely crushed TMDK here to make them establish their dominance, to make them feel like they are a legitimate tag team after beating FTR, one of the greatest tag teams out there right now. Don't get me wrong, Bishamon are fantastic. I don't think they're at that level right now. And other than that, though, it was a short match too. It was only 15 minutes. So, I mean, that after all those losses, Bishamon retains, and it didn't feel like something special. Next, we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tomohiro Ishii. In a fantastic match for the NWGP Television Championship. I would not have, at his age, Ishii, I thought maybe he would have lost a step, but no. Ishii was fantastic. Zack was basically saying, I'm going to have this over in no time. And the thing about the TV Championship, it is a 15-minute time limit. So if you don't win in 15 minutes, it's considered a draw. And Ishii took him almost right to the limit. This match went 14 minutes and 38 seconds. Basically, 22 seconds away, and it would have ended in a draw. And Ishii took Zack Sabre Jr., probably the second greatest gaijin right now in New Japan, and basically took him to the limit. And it was a really great showing by Ishii, really great showing by Zack Sabre Jr., and I'm looking forward to what Zack has in store next for this IWGP World Television Championship. Really, really good match. Next, we had our main event of Hiromu Takahashi against Yo for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Another fantastic match. Yo is something special. I was honestly thinking Yo was going to win this. It went 30 minutes almost. Like I said, I honestly thought Yo was going to win it. But then I think they're setting up for something else with Takahashi. So I'm thinking they're going to set up, like I said, or Umino or something else, and which is what we find out on the next night in Osaka. So with that, night 2 is done in Sapporo. Night 2 I thought was a little better than night 1. Night 1 had that fantastic match of the year candidate of Naito and Umino, and but Night 2 overall in terms of matches was slightly better. We will talk more in depth about this. Not more in depth, but we'll get Campbell's thoughts when we do our monthly State of Wrestling video, and we'll get Campbell's thoughts on this as well. From there, we move on to the 4th show in this series. It was in Osaka, And this is basically the culmination of all those stories they were telling the first 3 shows, culminating in this final show. So the first match of the night was United Empire of Great Khan and Aaron Harane against Toru Yano and Oscar Lube. Quick match, 6 minutes. Khan and Hanare go over. Once again, LIJ, Naito, Sonata, Takahashi, and Bushi defeating Honma, Umino, Tiger Mask, and Taguchi. Like I said, these first 4 matches were really nothing to write home about. Ishimori, the culmination of that feud here, he goes over Master Wato. Once again, Master Wato can't beat Ishimori. And finally, we have Tanahashi going over Kenta in Osaka for the first time in a half-decent match. I don't understand why they're pushing Tanahashi still so much when there's so much younger talent out there that they're still pushing Tanahashi. And then I find out at the end of the show why. Next, you had Minoru Suzuki, El Desperado, and Ren Narita going over House of Torture, Evil, Takahashi, and Sho for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships. Suzuki and Narita, they finally trust each other after all the storytelling they were doing, so that's telling a great story there. Suzuki announces that the name of the team is called Team Strong Style, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with these 6-man belts, and finally maybe take it somewhere, have it mean something, and we'll see where it goes from there. Next, we have to me, which was, I never thought I'd say this, but Hikuleo really showed me something special, or it's Jay White he's so good that he can make anybody look great. Jay White loses to Hikuleo in a 25-minute barn burner of a loser leaves Japan match. Jay White is something special. I don't know what's going to happen with Jay White from here. Hikuleo, like I said, goes over, which is so surprising. There was great storytelling of how Jay White was trying to take down Hikuleo's legs, beat the giant down like a David Goliath kind of story. But yeah, Hikuleo goes over. That means Jay White is leaving Japan. I don't know if he's going to stay full-time in New Japan Strong in the U.S. There's big talks about him joining the WWE. We'll see how that pans out. We'll find out after. I'll tell you in a moment after we finish with the results. But we'll see where Jay White goes from here. Next, our co-main event is Tama Tonga. Excuse me for my voice, guys. I'm really starting to lose it, so I apologize in advance. Tama Tonga against El Phantasmo for the Never Openweight Championship. As good as this match was, the wind and the fire was taken out of my sails from this because the match previously was so good. Yeah, so that previous match, like I said, it was so good that it kind of took the wind out of the sails in this one. This is kind of one of those ones I wanted to watch, but I had to actually stop and watch the main event later because basically I was so deflated after the last match that it was just so emotionally intense that this match really couldn't do it for me. But it's still a good match nonetheless. Probably one of the top 5 matches in this series of shows. And then you had another fantastic match of Kazuchika Okada against Shingo Takagi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. It was a good match. I'm tired. The only thing I'm tired is the babyface taking all the heat. Like, this is like Mox, like as Campo, to steal a word from, or steal a idiom from you, this is the Moxley booking, where the champion gets beat for the whole match and then ends up winning anyway. That's the only thing I'm not a fan of. This was the second best match out of all the shows. Yeah, and that's basically it. Okada goes over, retains the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. They show, mutual sign of respect. And Battle in the Valley, Okada says he needs a fantastic opponent. Someone that the US is familiar with, someone that like everybody will be familiar with. And he calls out Hiroshi Tanahashi. I kind of saw this coming when they were booking Tanahashi, especially in this show where Tanahashi ended up beating Kenta for the first time in Osaka. So this is going to be your main event for Battle in the Valley. It's going to be Osaka versus Tanahashi. Okada and Tanahashi. I've been saying Osaka, Okada. Sorry about that. But it's going to be Okada versus Tanahashi for the belt. If Okada loses to Tanahashi, I will lose some faith in New Japan's booking because their booking has been kind of lacking the last little while. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. This was the best show, though, out of all 4 shows. So to go over the scores, I'm not going to give you this. I'm not going to show the screen only because Campo still has to give me his scores and put them in. But on the first night, I gave Nagoya a 6.8. I gave Sapporo Night 1 a 6.8 as well. I gave Sapporo Night 2 a 6.7. And I gave Osaka a 7.2 just because there were more worthwhile matches, more meaningful matches, more matches that mean something. Whereas 6 out of the 7 matches on the other show were there's 8-man tags, right? So, but it's definitely something to go worth watch. I will leave in the description box, I will leave the 5 matches I think you should go out of your way to watch from this tournament. So check for that in the description below. But before we end this video, we're going to go over the card for Battle in the Valley coming up this coming Saturday. So on the pre-show, you have Alex Coughlin against JR Kratos. He's a National Wrestling Alliance member. David Finlay against Bobby Fish on the pre-show, which is surprising. I thought this would be more on the main show, but I guess not. You have, on the main show kicks off, one of the matches is Mascara Dorada, which was Grand Metalik in WWE, and Josh Alexander, Adrian Quest, and Rocky Romero versus Kushida, Volador Jr., Kevin Knight, and DKC. Basically, I'm looking forward to this match. This match has Barn Burner written all over it. And Josh Alexander is something special. So anytime I watch him, I definitely want to, I'm always interested to see Josh Alexander. But next you have, I think the cat's trying to get in. You have a match for the Strong Openweight Championship of basically... who is it? You have Fred Rosser against Kenta for the Strong Openweight. That is going to be something special. That's why I thought Kenta was going to beat Tanahashi because Kenta was facing Rosser, but I guess not. But I don't know. I don't think Kenta will win this. Maybe he will. Who knows? I mean, that I don't know what. Then you have the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin against West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jorel Nelson and Royce Isaacs for the Strong Open Tag Team Championship. I don't see Motor City losing to this match because I think they are going to get the FTR push like we were saying with Campo, something we'll touch upon in the State of Wrestling when we do that. We're going to skip February. We're probably going to do one for March. Then you have Jay White versus Eddie Kingston in just a regular singles match. Jay White, this could be his last New Japan match, period. We'll see where this goes from here, but I think Jay White is done with New Japan after this match. And then you have Tom Lawler against Homicide in a Filthy Rules match, which I'm guessing it's just like a gimmick match. It's like a false count anywhere, street fight, anything goes, like a no-holds-barred kind of thing. You have Zack Sabre Jr. defending the NJPW World Television Championship against Clark Connors. I am slowly becoming a Clark Connors fan, so I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this match. It should be a good match, though. Clark Connors, I'm really becoming a fan of his. I haven't seen him too much lately, except on the Strong shows. So hopefully he has a good showing here. Your co-main event of the night is Kairi versus Mercedes Moné. I don't see Kairi losing this match. And then you have Kazuchika Okada against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And once again, I do not think that Okada will be losing this match. So let me know your thoughts if you've watched any of the New Beginning shows or if you plan on watching Battle in the Valley. Mercedes Moné. A lot of people are looking for the former Sasha Banks first match since WWE. So against it's two former WWE stars of Kairi and Moné. So that should be interesting. Classic matchup of Okada and Tanahashi. I feel Tanahashi may be losing a step. So, I think this may be on his way to his retirement run as well. So with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. Thanks for putting up with me on this solo review. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I may put out a few other solo reviews every now and then if Campo's not able to make it. I prefer the to 2-person review, 3-person review, because at least we can bank off each other. We can feed off each other. With me, I'm just rattling on. So with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you all next time. And maybe later in the week, I may have a surprise video for you. So stay tuned for that. And with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you all next time.